Cool. That took a minute. Sorry about that, guys. So before I bring Ebony in, I just want to reorient us. This is the second installment of the series I started as an opportunity to speak to influential people of color in the LGBTQ plus community to highlight our challenges and opportunities during this time in COVID. Doing this as part of my company, HME Consulting and Advocacy, which is a DC-based company that advises governmental agencies, nonprofits, and other organizations in ways to do better practice and to improve the lives of folks in our community, and specifically those at the intersections of race and the LGBTQ community. And also, we also focus a little bit on education policy. So that was a rougher way that I meant to say it, but it's basically we work to help build coalitions to improve policy initiatives. So before that, I just also want to say that the goals of these discussions are to, one, uplift our community and just share stories. During this time, we're often in a position of being talked about as the marginalized, but we also do great things in this world, and I wanted to highlight that. So with that, I'm going to bring in Ebony. So Ebony, go ahead and request to join, and I'll bring you in. There we go.
Hey,
What's going on?
welcome.
Thanks for having me. I want to get my
Get
look
set
and
up.
feel together. Yeah.
Right. Gotta look good. You look good. You feel good.
Well, I got to get this hair together. You know how that
Listen,
is.
this is Rona. This is Rona hair. I call it Rona hair. So
Rona hair. Well,
yeah, you don't want to look at the back.
Oh, because when I lay down, it's flat in the back.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
trying to get it right.
Yes, yeah. So let me just quickly introduce you, and then we can jump into this thing.
Yeah. No.
Ebony, for those that don't know, is a DMV native, born and bred. She went to Yola College. Why can't I say that?
It's hard.
It's right. It doesn't roll
I
off the
went
tongue.
there and I still can't say Loyola.
Right. Now it's a university, but when she went, it was college. She was a D1 athlete in basketball. She started her career out in business, and a few years ago relocated to LA, where she started this comedy journey. And that's part of what I wanted to talk to you about today. And hopefully we can jump into this, like how you got here and how we're contributing to our communities. So welcome.
Thanks for having me, Heidi. Yeah, we go back to the DMV. I moved to LA about 8 years ago. But I've known you, I don't know.
At least
I don't
10,
want to say 20. No, has it
like
been 10, 15?
like 11,
Maybe?
10, 11 years.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll average
Yeah.
it out.
Well, thanks for having me. And
No problem.
I'm proud of what you're doing in DC. So keep it up, keep up the good work and everything.
Thank you. So just as a reminder, the format is really simple. I'm going to ask Ebony some questions, some for continuity, like I said, this is a series, but it's really a free-flowing conversation, and I won't take up much of your time. And towards the end, I'll turn to folks in the chat to answer some of their questions. You can also use the question feature. So I'll monitor both of those as we kind of round out. But my first question that I ask everybody is one, status check. How are you doing physically, mentally, all the above? Because mental wellness is really important to me and a lot of folks that follow me.
Yeah, okay. Good question. Physically, I'm good. A friend of mine has been starting these Zoom workouts. So I've been Zooming 3 days a week trying to get my body right. Because I can sit down, I can just sit in the house during this quarantine and do nothing active. But physically, I'm good. My friend is working me out. My wife is cooking amazing meals. So my body's good.
Oh, well, that's good.
My body's good. And mentally, as of right now, today, on the 15th of May, I'm feeling good. I had a Zoom comedy show last night. So I'm feeling energized and positive, but it took me a while to get to a positive space, from all of this COVID and, you know, the anxiety and everything. Right now I'm good, but it didn't, I wasn't here 2 months ago. I put it there.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are on that journey. I know personally I have been in some ways as well. Let's talk about your journey to where you are, because I did that briefly in your intro because I really did want you to tell your story, and just talk about like your journey to one, doing comedy, and then kind of like your decision to embark on LikeDat and some of the other initiatives that you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. It's always great to, you know, tell your own story, right? You know,
Right.
a little bit, but to come out of the horse's mouth. So, it's crazy because I mean, even my family is like, what, you're doing comedy? Like, since when?
Right.
Because, you know, I've been in corporate America in DC, like for like 10 years.
Right.
And, you know, I came out to LA, had some friends, you know, just hanging out. We were legit hanging out in the kitchen. I think it was somebody's birthday party or something. I've always been like an extrovert, just telling, you know, just being fun.
Yes, you have.
And a friend of, thank you. And a friend of mine was like, you should try stand up. And I was like, I don't know. I'm just in the kitchen. You know, we might be drinking.
Right.
I'm just having a good time. So my friend said, you should try stand up. So I tried stand up and I've never looked back. Like, that was in 2014. So try stand up. And, you know, as a comic, you know, you've been to comedy shows, you've been to stand up shows, and, you know, you like to see the entertainer tell their stories, do their jokes. But for me, I was a comic, right? I would go to a show, do my set, and you know, I would connect with the audience. Like, me being a Black lesbian, right? Mm-hmm. I would tell jokes and material about my wife, and I would connect with like a cis white man,
right?
Because he's like, oh, my wife does the same thing. And so I was like, okay, well, if I can connect to someone who we don't look alike, you would never put us in the same conversation, but we have these connections through the stories I'm telling. I was like, okay, I love being a comic, but let me take it a step further and be a producer of comedy, right? So because when I became a producer, therefore I can curate the lineup, I can create the vibe I want to have. You know, so I pretty much wanted to take the step as a comedian a step further so I can have a little bit more control over the experience that people were having. And that was, you know, 2 years ago. I had my first show in 2018. And now I'm like, I'm a producer now. I'm producing, this, you know?
Right.
So yeah, it's been quite the journey, but it's been fun to, you know, produce this platform for others to, you know, connect as well. So.
No, absolutely. And just to piggyback on that, I mean, in addition to like just seeing you thrive, what I really appreciate is that if you're intentional, even though this is like a career aspirational moment for you, you're intentional about like the space you're taking up, and specifically making sure that you are opening doors for who may be coming behind you that are in our community and look like us. And I think that's awesome that you're providing that platform and that you're so intentional about it.
Yeah, no, thanks. It was all on purpose. So I wanted to create, I don't know if people have seen this meme before, this saying where create what you want to exist, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, cool. I know there are other lesbian comics, right? We have Wanda Sykes. We have Gina Yashir. We have Sam J. There's so many of them, right? But I'm like, you know what? I have a real good group of lesbian comedians that people just don't know about yet.
Right.
And so I'm like, cool, let me make this platform, put us on stage, right? But also I'm collaborating with, you know, other queer designers. I'm wearing their shirts on my show. I'm promoting their queer brands. And so I really wanted to just make a space where I didn't want us to feel like we had to go somewhere else to be accepted.
Right.
I wanted to create our own thing where we can come in and celebrate ourselves. Everyone can come and join us.
Right,
you know,
right.
I don't,
right.
You know, anybody can come, but I wanted to make it intentional that I want to showcase just some people, some you know, some of us that don't get those opportunities from like mainstream. So I want to start it, and then the movement just made a life of its own, and people were like, when's the next one? Right. So yeah, I pretty much, the intent was put my lesbian friends on, and then it just erupted into this whole movement. So I mean, I'm honestly thankful for people who've ever bought a ticket, people who came to the show. I'm thankful for the comics who who rock with me, because everyone's like,
Right.
Ebony, like, who you think you are? But people have really been super supportive. So it's not even me, it's the community that's keeping it afloat, you know? So yeah.
Absolutely, and I got to witness a little bit of that with your Zoom show. So yeah, you have a village that travels with you.
Yeah. It takes. My mother said it takes a village to like raise a child. It takes a village to raise LikeDat Productions.
That's right,
So.
right. Yeah. We're all in it together. Same here. I mean, obviously, I'm self-employed and learning the ropes as well. But it's always great to know that you have support, especially from our specifically our community. So speaking of our community, both respectively in our personal life, but also our professional life, can you talk a little bit about how the pandemic, specifically quarantine, has affected your business, your occupation? I know there's probably many ways, but please break them down for us.
Yeah. Oh man. So here's the thing. So I'm in LA and I had a live show, because I don't know if you guys saw the Erykah Badu, Jill Scott versus last week, right? Yeah. So I'm like, she said something that hit me, and Erykah Badu said, "I'm an entrepreneur, but my business is live touring." And I was like, "Ooh, girl, you ain't never lied. That is me." And on March the 12th, I had a show here in LA, a live show. People were buying tickets. The Comedy Union was going to be packed that night, and the show starts at 8:00. 1:00, we get some rumors. Okay, they're going to start shutting stuff down, possibly, but we weren't sure the group size. We were like, okay, if it's 200 people, we're fine, because the venue only holds 150. So I'm like, cool, I'm waiting. 4:00 comes along. They're like, there's no gatherings of more than 50 people. I'm like, come on now. LikeDat Productions, we have triple that size. So I was like, okay, so on March the 12th, my live show got canceled because there were no social gatherings. And I was like, okay, cool. No live shows. So what are you going to do? And to be honest with you, for the whole month after that, I was honestly in a place of, I really am not motivated. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Like, I was super worried. Anxiety was high. I was like, you know what? If I can't do a live show, like, what am I going to do? Like, am I, like, what is my purpose? How can I do something? But I was paralyzed from just, I don't know. Like, I'm used to being in different, 2020, girl, I was going to go to Oakland. I had cities, I had plans. And I was like, all right. So honestly, for the first month, I just kind of sat with myself and just was like, you know what? I'm not feeling it. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to just do something that I didn't, feel. So I was like, okay, I had seen, some Zoom shows. I had seen comics just doing shows on live by themselves. And I was like, okay, I had seen it done, but none of them worked for me. People had invited me to be on their shows too. And I was just like, I don't know. Right. So I was like, you know what? My wife was like, babe, if you do a Zoom show, I will get a curtain. We're going to make this a club. She bought a curtain on Amazon. My wife had built me a stage like 5 years ago. So I actually have a stage in my home. So my wife, she was like, if you want to do something, I'll support you 110%. Yes. And then other people were like, hey, what you going to do? People were asking me. And I was like, you know what? We going to see. I honestly, I had no answers, Heidi. I was like, I felt like my business wasn't, can't even do. A month later, April 23rd is when I had my first Zoom show. And I feel like it only happened that day. It wasn't going to be a day sooner or an hour sooner. It happened when it was the right time for it to happen. I had to take the time to sit with myself. I had to think about what it's going to look like. Because I had seen Zoom shows, not to knock Zoom shows, but they wasn't mine. I was like, I can't rock with these. These ain't even the vibe, And so I was like, you know what? What I got to do is create my own Zoom show. And that's what it did. I pretty much was like, you know what? We're going to do these LikeDat Productions on Zoom. I'm going to create that same energy and that same vibe at my live shows in my living room. But it really took me a month to even jump into the Zoom, because I was just like, I don't even know. This don't really feel right. But I had to make it my own,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know?
No, absolutely. And as once again, as someone that's a sole proprietor, like I keep calling it pivoting and plotting, right? Like
Yeah.
whatever I thought I was going to do these last couple of months, some of it is still true because it's not public facing, but anything public facing, I was like, I like threw my hands up for a second, and I had to start figuring out how to still
Yeah.
engage and remain relevant. And this was one avenue. So to your point, I have an amazing fiance who's supporting me in this endeavor as well. So
Yeah.
shout out to the ladies in our lives.
Shout out to them ladies. Listen,
right.
but you just said something that hit me, right? You said something about pivoting, right? So the goal, basketball, you got to pivot, jab, step,
Right.
pivot, right? Get a new direction. And you say that the reason I want to bring that up is because the goal was still the same, right? I still want to provide a platform for marginalized comics, either queer, black or brown, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still my goal.
Right.
That's still my goal, is to provide this platform for talent. So I just got to pivot about the entry on how, like, the way I'm gonna do it. So I was like, okay,
Right.
cool. I still had this. My purpose was to provide a platform.
Right.
The platform and the live stage, the platform is Zoom. So whatever the platform gonna be, I have to continue to execute on my goal. And so I just had to pivot, little jab, step, pivot, and switch it up,
right.
and just remix it a little bit. Just remix it up. So
yeah, real quick side note and caveat. Ebony and I have actually played basketball together. I was never on her level. We were in a rec league, but we were still hooping. We were still hooping.
Thank you.
People be sleeping on us. So we old now. So I guess that's actually a good segue into my question, because I talked about your business, your occupation, but how do you feel this is, what are the greatest impacts, I guess is a better way to say it, that you've seen in the comedy community, and then also in our community, in the LGBTQ plus Black and Brown community, given this time?
Sorry, what was the greatest impact?
The greatest impacts, yeah.
Oh man, honestly, and this is kind of before COVID, and it's kind of like where, I feel like it's a great opportunity for anyone who like a lot of times in LA, like, it's production, you got to have like an agent, a manager, you got to have representation, all these gatekeepers in the way. But the opportunity is like on this phone. Yeah. Like, the opportunity is here for anyone who wants to put something in the world. There's nothing stopping you but yourself. Like, for real. Like, I'm not going to say it's easy, because I had to overcome I had to get out of my own way. Had to overcome my own, put my, imposter syndrome, and just every anxiety, all of that. I had to put all that aside to do this. Right. And so the biggest impact I could say is just like, there is nothing in your way but yourself. Right. Absolutely. And so I mean, I'll support who anybody got something, I'll support it. I mean, if anybody in this chat, like, send me the link, send me the Zoom, I'll come, I'll post it. And I think, also the community and like a lot of my friends are starting things, and we're just collectively supporting each other. Right. So the impact might be small in the beginning, but it can grow. Like, you go from 1 follower to 2 followers. Like, even just like, you might get a lot of views in the beginning, but you have to at least start. Yes. And trust me, I keep saying it's not gonna be easy. Just start. Like, no, but action cures fear. Yes. So as long as you continue to act on it and do it, then you won't be scared. Trust me, I'm scared every time I get on stage. You hear me? Every time. Listen, I've been doing comedy. Every time I get on stage, I'm in the back like, oh, I gotta start this show. I gotta host it. I'm back there like eating CBD gummies just to get my nerves right. Like, every show, you would think that it's automatic. No, fear is gonna be there every step of the way, but you just have to just kind of just be like, you know what? Just shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. Absolutely. Shoot your shot. The impact right now to me is that everybody's at home. People have their what do you call it? Their phones in their hand. People are taking in everything. So if you have something, just do it. Like, it's, I keep saying just do it. I'm
Right?
not
No,
Nike.
we like Nike though. We like Nike.
You know, but you know, I can talk to Nike, give me some sponsorship or something.
Right.
But no, like I really think the impact is that we can create whatever you want to create. If you're a chef, start cooking on Instagram. If you're like, just do it. Like there's nothing in your way but yourself. And right. I gotta tell myself, even I gotta remind myself, like Ebony, you still even right now today, I'm still in my own way. Right now, I'm doing things, but I'm still in my own way about a whole bunch of other things that we don't even have time for on this Instagram live.
Right.
But,
we might have to do a part two.
Just take the step, and then don't look at the staircase. Just take one step, then one step. Don't be looking too far.
Right.
You know, just you know, whatever it is you want to do, man. I don't know. That's just what felt like something I should say right now. I don't even know the answer. I don't even know the answer to the dang question.
No, you did, and you also answered a couple other questions I was going to ask. So actually, what I'll do is kind of like pull some of this together and also pull some things out. One, I think I was going to ask you about like what do you recommend, and like what is your advice to anyone going through, you know, some of the things that you were going through. So you kind of touched on that, but we can revisit a little bit of that. But I think it's really important that you said to take that leap. Like I know for me, my biggest enemy is Heidi Ellis. Like I get in my way all the time, from the smallest things to the largest things. And I don't always trust myself. And when I do, I reap the rewards. I really do. Whether it's just I just felt good because I did that thing that I said I was going to do, and like I accomplished it, or I actually just like changed someone's life. Like a lot of the work I do is quiet and behind the scenes. And when you see the impact, and you see, you know, people that maybe don't feel confident to like, you know, raise their voice and talk about their issues. And I provided, to your point, a platform for that. Right. It's literally what feeds my soul. So like, yeah, sometimes it's not going to be the $1 million idea, but I'm living in my purpose and I'm living in my truth. So that's what I have to go to sleep with every night and wake up every day thinking like, am I doing that? You know, and
y'all listening to Heidi? Is everyone here listening to Heidi? Because she's dropping gems.
That's my new standard for success. I look at my bank account, but I also look at my soul, because your bank account will be left behind. But can you sleep
at night?
Right.
Is your integrity intact? Like all of that. But yeah, like you just said, honestly, like here's the thing. Here's the thing is that I created this platform, right, for comedians. So I legit can't wait till I go on stage, host a show, and I want to sit there as well and watch the comics. Like I don't even like, yeah, I'm a comedian, I have it, I'm gonna tell you, and like my jokes, whatever, but I get so much joy from watching the comics and the reaction from the crowd. Like, it's not even about me. I'm not the funniest person. I'm just making this show for us, right? And so I'm like, I even say at the show, look, I'm just going to introduce these people because I want to go sit with you so I can hear what they have to say. Absolutely. And you have to get, like, the thing with me is like, I really am just the vessel. I'm not even like, I'm not the main event. I'm not the funniest. I'm here to create build this brand, build this community, and like provide it for other people, because everyone who's told me is like, oh my God, I'm so glad you did this. I want to be on the next show. Comics have reached out like, how can I get on the stage? Right. People are like, well, when's the next show? Because I want to come. Right. And I like legit. I mean, yeah, you know, money's important. I gotta eat. You got real. I live in LA. Bills. You know. But at the same time, I would rather be doing this than doing something that I am not feeling my heart isn't in it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And thankfully we have the resources and we have the support system to do that. And that's key. Yeah, I mean, you kind of, once again, you touched on half the questions I was going to ask. So what I want to do, because we're almost at time, but I'm happy to run a little bit over, but I just want to respect everybody's time. Just start taking questions from the audience. Ain't nobody doing nothing. We got to respect their time. Jump off. It's like, no. But yeah, so folks, you can go ahead and drop questions in the comment or use the question feature. For some reason, my thing's a little bit delayed, so forgive me if it takes a minute for me to see it. I think everybody is using Wi-Fi at 4 o'clock right now. There we go. Oh, sure. Okay, this question comes from someone I shouted out, my fiance, Aaron. How does it feel doing comedy over Zoom when you are used to live reaction from the audience? So here's the thing, Aaron, is that on my Zoom shows, I allow for everyone to be off of mute. So we actually are not speaking to just like a brick wall. Everyone in there is able to give us that reaction. So yeah, I won't be able to like touch and smell them or whatever, but I hear everyone's feedback. So if I say something and they laugh, I get it. We get it back. You know, we get it. I also get when I say something and people don't laugh, and I'm like, oh dang, okay, that didn't work. Okay, let me go back to the lab, rewrite. Right. I actually allow for the mute to be off because I want everybody to feel the energy, feel the laughs. It's a give and take because we feed off of the energy of the audience, the Zoom. If I did Zoom on mute, I wouldn't do a show. Honestly, I feel like LeBron. I'm not playing in an empty gym.
Right.
I'm not doing jokes, and I'm like I wouldn't do comedy on IG Live.
Right.
Because I can't hear everyone in their house listening to me.
Right.
So Zoom has been awesome for me because it is giving us direct feedback in real time. But that's been working. So,
right.
It would be lame. It would be lame.
Eric.
It would be lame.
So we got a question actually from your sister. How do you handle people who try to copy you?
Who won't copy who?
That's what we got. We need more tea.
Who won't copy who? Like here's the thing. Like, you can't copy what is like. How am I gonna say this? No one can be me, right? People can try to. And here's the thing. It's not even about copying or competition. There's no competition. It could be somebody down the street that's doing queer comedy. Okay.
Right.
They're not Let's Be Honest. They're not LikeDat Productions. They're not my lineup. So I'm all for everyone doing their own thing. There's no competition. I don't know about copying per se, but like, for example, I didn't create the Zoom show. So someone could say, oh, Ebony, you copying somebody who's done a Zoom show.
Right.
I'm not going to recreate the wheel. I didn't create Zoom show. I just perfected the Zoom show. Like my shows just moved, my show is a little bit different. They just a little, I'm not going to say they better. It's just different. So copying is not a concern of mine because you can't copy the vibe. You can't copy my essence. Ebony, not essence. You understand? You can't copy your girl. Okay.
Right. Often imitated, never duplicated.
Hello. So yeah, man, I don't copy, man. I don't know. That's right. If they can try, they can try. Listen, do what you gotta do.
No, I actually, just to piggyback on that, like I think the same thing. There's a couple of people in like the advocacy and consulting space that do similar things to what I do, but I always say that like the more the merrier, because guess what, this work needs to get done some way somehow, right? Like the more focus on these subjects, the better. But I also feel that like I am like this is me putting myself out there. I'm not someone that wants to be the headliner. I'm happy to create the programming so that it's tight and that people get what they need out of it. But if my name is never mentioned, that doesn't hurt my ego. However, in this day and age, with me being a business owner, I do have to put myself out there more. So I'm finding that balance. But yeah, to me, it's not about competition. It's about, are you going to do the work and you're going to do it well?
That part.
So.
Because the thing is, there's a level of what it looks like, what it feels like. Right. So if you're going to put in the work that I do, cool, try, you can definitely,
right.
And the thing is, I'm not even handcuffing the information. If somebody's like, hey, Ebony, what do I need to do to produce a show? I'm like, cool. This is how you do it.
Right.
I will give people what I'm doing. I will tell them how to do it. Go ahead, do your thing.
Y'all hear that?
That doesn't
follow her.
Doesn't bother me. But also, like, so crazy in the whole thing about Let's Be Honest, right? People were so concerned. How can you do a lesbian show? Ain't all y'all lesbians gonna talk about the same thing? No. Like, that's the whole thing, is we all have our own story. Don't nobody talk about my parents, they're not your parents. You're not gonna talk about my wife, she's not your wife. And so I have a whole show on lesbians where no one's copying each other's
Exactly.
material, because you can't copy someone's life. It's all our own
Right.
story. So copy, man, what is copy? I don't even know what copy is. I don't even know what you're talking about. Erica, stop asking questions about copy. I don't even exist.
Well, you actually make a good point. Like, just like we talk about Black voters, right, during this election year, I obviously have my hand in politics as well. Black people are not a monolith, and guess what? Black lesbians are not a monolith. Like, we all walk differently. We share in the love, but we're different people. So stop lumping us together.
Thank you. Stop lumping us. Stop it.
So we're at time. I'm gonna take any more questions. All right. So we have 2 more questions. Let's see. The comedians on your show are always hilarious. How do you manage to curate such great lineups?
Oh man, that's a great question. I honestly, I have to hats off to the comics. You know, like, obviously the comedians are doing the work. They are honing their craft. They are perfecting their jokes and stories. And I've seen them perform. So, you know, obviously before the club shut down, I would go to shows. I would go specifically, if someone put a flyer up and I've been watching them for a while, like, oh, I want to go see so-and-so, I will go to their show. I will go to their show. I will, you know, I will support. I will go. I just want to see what they're talking about, whatever. And some comics I know because I performed with them on, we've both been booked on shows. And I'm like, yo, I got to get you on my show.
Right.
Or they've been on my show and I'm like, you know, you've done my live show, come on into the Zoom show because you're already going to like that family.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so honestly, I've been scouting. Like I said, I went from layup to stand up. Everything is rooted in basketball.
Right.
You're going to scout the talent. You're going to look at the scouting report. You're going to see what they have. And then I'm just go ahead and recruit them.
Right.
Scout and recruit. You know, and even the thing is so crazy is there are Zoom shows, like a great comedian that I had on my show. She also does her own Zoom show. She does her Zoom show. She does my Zoom show. Because she has followers. She has her people that want to see her in her lineups. I went to her Zoom show, saw somebody on her Zoom show, was like, cool, that person can do my people, because my people are different.
Right.
So it's just, you know, we just rinse and repeat, man.
Right. And share the love. Most importantly, share the love.
Exactly. I'm not handcuffing. None of these comics are mine.
Right.
I can't say, oh, you can't do them shows. You can only do, what are you talking about?
Right.
So
absolutely.
It's a community of comics, and literally the people, the question was, why are they so funny, or how are they so funny?
Right.
Because they are doing the work. And the best part to me, honestly, about the show is curating the lineup. I'm like, okay, I know this person's gonna bring. They're gonna go first because they're in it. Then they're second. They're gonna headline. Like, even just like a live show, I curate the Zoom show like a live show. How is the show going to flow? How is it moving? Like, you know, girl, this is fun. It's fun to be like, let me just play like it's like chess. Like, okay, let me put her there, him there.
Yeah.
Woo-woo.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, I think that's with any field, right? Like, especially when you're trying to do something that necessarily hasn't really been done, and you're trying to do it well, and you're trying to have real impact, and you're trying to determine who you're going to work with and what voices you want to elevate. A lot of times it's because their voices are not being elevated in other spaces, which I think is honestly, like, to wrap this up, is part of why I wanted to have this conversation with you. 1, because you are my friend. 2, because you are amazing. But 3, also because you do reach back and you reach forward and you reach around to make sure that everyone's coming with you. And that's what we have to do in our community, specifically people of color, because we're not always going to be given those opportunities. We're not always going to be considered, you know, the shiny new thing. So we just have to keep creating for ourselves and
honestly, keep creating, keep supporting. Like I said, it's not a competition or anything, because like I said, I will go to other people's shows. I will support anybody. I will, you know, if someone has a clothing line, I will promote everybody's situation, because what's for you will be for you. Right. And the part of the community I'm trying to build here is the fact that we can support each other and have us create this collective where we can recycle our dollars. Like, look, like for example, you buy a ticket to my show. I'm gonna take that money and I'm gonna buy your T-shirt with it. Like, you know, it's just a whole community, right? But you touched on something I just wanted to say. I think I might have forgotten my thought.
Oh, sorry.
Oh man, no, it's okay.
You've been dropping gems the whole time, so I appreciate it.
It was something else about Oh man, it's all right. But basically, thank you for, giving me this time to share what I've been up to. But at the end of the day, it's just about providing a resource for people, of providing an outlet, especially during this COVID time where people are in the home. People are either looking for connection, like at my shows, all those little blocks. Yeah. People in LA are meeting people in Maryland,
right?
And then they're talking amongst each other on the shows. People are like, "Oh, where's Brenda? Where's Brenda?" Like people in LA, like, "Where's Brenda? Is Brenda at the show?" So it's like, it's so great to see, because who would have thought that these Zoom boxes, people will get fans, people get making friends. They're like, "Oh, I can't wait to see you at the next show." Like it's really created this environment of like just being in contact without being in contact.
Right. You're definitely you're creating, like, you're eliminating the silos that we're going to feel during this isolation. I really appreciate that. Isolation is something our community knows a lot about. So I'll just wrap it once again and say thank you, and just, is there anything, I made sure to just tag our handles so we can people can go to our respective pages and just see what is upcoming. But is there anything that you just want to name, like in terms of an event or something that's coming up that you just want folks to know about?
Man, honestly, I don't have no event that's coming outside, so
right.
Everyone
on the webs,
everyone in their home, on the webs. I have been doing these shows every month, Thursday, 6:00 Pacific, 9:00 Eastern. It's been every week so far. So it's LA. We're in stay at home for the next 2 months, July, August. So honestly, I will continue to do this. I'm recruiting comics now. I'm working on my lineups. So every Thursday, you can follow LikeDat Productions Instagram. I'm posting the flyer. You can follow, obviously, Ebony Not Essence. I will always be sharing how to get the access code. But yeah, and then like I said, I will be promoting and posting other people's things. So if you see something in my story, you want to join someone else's event, feel free. But yeah, I'll be here. Check my Instagram. LikeDatProductions.com also is our website. But yeah, like I said, until I don't know. I don't see it in until the outside's open. Until outside is open. We will be here Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9:00 Eastern. And come, bring your drink, bring your dinner. Tell a friend, and I'll continue. I'm glad people like the lineups. I'm gonna continue to try to curate the best lineups. And it's not even about the lineup. I gotta be funny myself. So let me go write some jokes. So every week I can have something to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Ebony. As you can see, I'm doing this series. I haven't committed to weekly because I really do want the stories to lead when I do this and make sure that it's impactful. I'll aim for weekly and definitely maybe every other week while we're still in this situation. So please keep following me and tuning in. I'm posting them to YouTube. The YouTube link is in my bio. So yes, thank you, Ebony. And thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Be safe, everybody.
As soon as we can come home, I'm coming to DC.
We're going to do it up. All right, everybody. All right. Be safe. Have a good weekend.
Thank y'all.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.